Hi YouTube friends, it's Megan here. Today I am making some toys. This is the beginning of the toy. Looks pretty boring, but we're going to make it a bit more exciting. This is from Michael's, and it's called an Artminds square box. So that's the beginning. And the next part of the toy is something that my mother helped make, which are these perfectly cut squares of cloth, and my idea was that these are like napkins or a tablecloth, so a child will take these out and put them down, and then they're going to put their play food out and play with their dolls or teddy bears or their friends or parents, or siblings, whoever they have. I'm making 5 of these, and the only reason I'm making 5 is because that's how many boxes I have. This is actually my favorite one. Blue gingham, I have purple, and pink. So that's the beginning of the toy, is the container that it comes in with the tablecloth or napkin, however the child wants to see that. And the next part is the fruits and vegetables and a condiment container that goes in it. Most of these are from Factory Direct Craft. So for example, I have these. These are called split balls. I have from Factory Direct Craft. These are going to be kiwis. So you just have to use your imagination. These pears are actually from a shop on Etsy. I'll put the link in the description box below this video. So you can have a pear. And I have these. These are wooden discs, 2 3/8 of an inch. These are from Bear Woods Supply, and they're really nice. I really like these wood discs. Now this makes a perfect orange. So a slice of orange. So we got orange, pear, kiwi. What else do we have? From Factory Direct Crafts, I have something called a finial. Now this is something that you would put on the end of a curtain rod. However, I use it in a different way. It makes a perfect ketchup bottle. And look how it fits right there. Ketchup's cute. And I have some more discs. These are Factory Direct Craft. So we can have tomato, cucumber, and purple onion. And then these are very special. These are quarter split. And the only place I found them is Factory Direct Crafts. I've looked for them, and that's the only place I've ever found them. These make a perfect apple slice. So we can throw in a couple apple slices in there. And this is a picnic. It doesn't look very exciting now, but let's paint it up, and it will look better when we're done. Now to the fun part. Let's make these shapes look like fruits and vegetables. First, I'll show you my colors. I don't have too many that I need. I've got an Artist's Loft green yellow, an Artist's Loft deep yellow, Artist's Loft light magenta. Put those over there. And then I have Winsor and Newton, and I have 3 of those. I've got Winsor Violet, Cadmium Orange, Cadmium Red, and Permanent Green. And for white, I've got Wicker White. And this is Folk Art. And I have a medium, glazing medium, fluid medium. And this is to make the paint flow better when I need it to. And I've got water. I've got various brushes. These are my zero liner brushes, my favorite ones. Let's start with red, because I love red. This bottle, the Finial, is going to be red. Take the sticker off the bottom. Now I just go between, there's gaps here, in here, and there's a gap here, so I just paint red between those two. Nice bright red. Okay, so here's our red condiments bottle, and we're just going to set that aside for now. One of the apples is going to be red. I paint the outside, and I also do just a touch in here. So my brush doesn't have too much paint. I just kind of dry brush a bit in there because apples always have the color of the peel shows up a little bit on the inside. So we want to do the outside and just a touch around the edges on what will be the inside of the apple. Set that down for now. And finally, this is going to be a tomato. So both sides will just first be painted in red, and then we'll do the details. Next we'll do the orange, and the only thing that is orange is the orange. Now I'm going to use yellow on the pear and one of the apples. So the pear, I just do the top half yellow, and then the bottom half will be green. And one of the apple slices is yellow. It's a yellow apple. And the green goes on cucumber, one of the apple slices, and the kiwi. And our final color is the purple Windsor Violet, and that is going to be a slice of purple onion. That will go on this last wooden disc. Next is the white highlights that go on almost every piece, except for the pear. It's the only one that is complete as it is, except it's going to get a felt leaf. Put that aside for now. This is my ketchup bottle, and I'm just going to put a design on it. Not the words ketchup, just a design. And the apples, I'll do all three apples at the same time. I give them a little bit of yellow in the white as well, because the flesh of an apple is not pure white. It's a beigey yellow color. And I leave always at the edge a little bit of the color that matches the skin. So this is the yellow apple. I'll take a dry brush and just leave yellow at the edge. the kiwi. The kiwi gets in the white a yellow, just abstract kind of shape. It's not a rectangle, it's not an oval, it's shaped like that. Something like that. There's going to be seeds put in. Now let this dry for a minute, and then we're going to add a bit of yellow in here. And then when we put in the seeds, it really stands out as a kiwi. It's much easier to paint a kiwi than you would think. Oops, sorry, kiwi. Next, let's do the cucumber. Now the cucumber is similar to the apples. It has a white-yellow pulp. If you let some of the green show through, that's okay. And also let some green on the edge, that is the peel, show. And then we put on seeds and a highlight and a detailed couple dark lines, and they look quite realistic as cucumbers. Now, these things don't have to look like super realism. This is a child's toy. However, it's fun if you can get it looking realistic. Adds to the whimsy of it if it's more realistic. I think, anyway. Sometimes people come over to my craft table to look at the fruit and vegetables, and some people have told me that they thought they were real. So that's just kind of the fun, and then they'll come and look at other things on the table as well. It caught their eye and brought them over. And then they look at all the products, not just the play food. I have dolls, play food, chime dolls, sorting toys, and home decor on my table. Now if you want to give something texture, just take some clean paper and dab it like that, and you have texture. And then when we get the seeds, this is really going to look like a cucumber. Let's work next on the purple onion. So the white part of the purple onion is not pure white, it's a bit pink. I'm just going to pull it in a, you can do two shapes. You can do kind of a rectangle in there and a triangle in there. And then the onion comes around. Or you can swirl it. I do like doing these shapes like this. It all depends on how you cut the onion, if you cut it perfectly in half, or if you cut it on a bit of an angle. Now I'm going to come back through this with a pink purple to do the darker parts again. So this is the white flesh of the onion. And then we'll come back with it with the brush one more time with the pink purple. And then the purple onion is done. So similar to the kiwi, painting a purple onion isn't really as difficult as you would think it is. You just kind of look at it and see how the shapes work. And you don't have to get every shape perfect, you just understand how they work. And then it looks like a purple onion. I added this. What I did was look at the shapes and try to think of the different fruits and vegetables that are these shapes. And I added this purple onion for the color. I added the kiwi for the fun. We could also add a lemon slice, a lime slice, anything really you can think of that is these shapes. It's already starting to look like a purple onion. When we come back again with the pink purple, that will really define it. So 2 little shapes in here. See, one kind of gets abandoned. You got the 2 shapes. You do a ring around one, and then a ring around both, and then circles. And again, we're going to come through and define it one more time. So this isn't about perfection here. This is about just getting in texture and a sketch of where the shapes will be. Okay, so this will be set aside to dry. And next is, I'll give my kiwi a bit more white in the middle here. Next we'll do the orange. The orange. Now the orange is kind of like Trivial Pursuit pie. So you have your pulp in the middle, and then you have your offshoots of your orange slices, and pulp around the side. And just like with the apples, this pulp is actually a yellow white, not a pure white. And I'll put it in, and then we're going to give it some texture with the paper again, because this paint is still wet. So we'll just go like this to give it some texture. Okay, and come back and define more wedges. Give it some highlights, because we're going to come back in with this with orange and yellow to finish it off. This is just the drawing of where our wedges are going to be. The orange slice. It doesn't have to be realism. I mean, a child is already going to look at that and call it an orange. We're just giving it a little bit of realism to make it a touch more creative and interesting. You can also take a dry brush and dab at it to get texture. We want to leave some orange around the edges because that's the peel, just like with the apples. And highlights, and that's the pulp in the middle. And it'll become more defined when we come back with darker colors again. Most of my fruit and vegetables require 3 steps. Some require 4 steps. I'll do darker color, come in with a highlight, and then come back with the colors again. I never draw anything out with pencil. I just let it kind of draw itself. And then when I'm done, it gets 2 or 3 coats of this varnish and allow it to dry overnight, and it's just ready to go. We'll leave this to dry. Next, the tomato. The tomato is very interesting. It is actually only 4 colors. It's the red base, of course, that we see. Then it is orange. A light orange is the pulp of the tomato. And purple red is the dark shadows of the tomato. And then bright yellow seeds are put in to give it that real tomato look. And how many sections you divide the tomato up, just like the onion, it depends on how it was cut. I'm going to divide my tomato in 3 sections. So let's make an orange here. Very warm orange. This is actually the color of tomato pulp. It is a light red-orange color. And from the center of the tomato, just come up with one section. It's down there with another section. And here with another section. So kind of divide it in thirds. And just tap in pulp here. Let some red show through. And same as along here, I have a very dry brush. I'm just going to draw in pulp with the dry brush. And a little bit lighter here. This doesn't look like a tomato yet, but it will when we add the dark shadow in the seeds. So the dark shadow area is red with a bit of purple to darken it up. If I were to add black instead, it would just be dull. Making it a purple red, a dark purple red, makes it a bit more exciting. To just bring in some shadow in here. And let's add just a touch of red. This shape is, this line here is not straight. It's you can put in squiggles here to create that line. If it were straight, it would not look like a tomato at all. The pulp, if you think of a tomato, the pulp is all kind of broken up in there. Okay, Now, let's add the seeds, and this will really look like a tomato. It doesn't look so much like a tomato now. You might think tomato, but wait till we add the seeds. That is the final defining thing that just screams tomato. Now the seeds are easy. Take a very fine paintbrush, yellow and white, and make it very, very bright yellow. And just randomly tap them in. The seeds are just in here all over. You even have some more orange seeds. Some of them kind of come off the pulp here. Like they're connected. And some are in the background. And pull some lines in here too with a brighter color. There you go. That is a tomato slice. The cucumber, we're going to add just some green, darker green seeds in the middle. Again, it's random. The seeds are what really define the vegetable. So we're just going to add in, they seem to me to go in groups of 3, these seeds. Like you'll have a bunch of seeds here, a group of seeds here, and a group of seeds here. There's a cucumber. And when this paint dries, we'll add in just a few darker lines to kind of define them better. We could make on this one the edges a bit bright. So the apple, red and green makes brown, so we don't have to go get a brown out. We just add a bit of red and green and get a brownish color. Apples have the seeds in here. Usually just have one seed showing there. Or they might have 2. Little one here. Just like with the other, with the onion and the tomato, it just depends kind of how it was cut. So I've got a seed here, 2 seeds here. But the other extra detail is an orange, very light orange line that comes in here. That's also makes it look like an apple slice. It's the extra detail. And that side, that's an apple. The kiwi, it's a green and white. Now I give it a little bit of yellow. So I'm going to come in here with my brush with some yellow. And just a touch of yellow gives this that super bright kiwi look. Kiwis are very bright green. And then we're going to let this dry, and this gets finished off with a Sharpie. I just take a Sharpie to draw in the seeds. For the kiwi, to give it the kiwi look, I just add multiple levels, I guess I would call them, of seeds. So I put a dot there, a line there, a dot, and just keep going around, and that's what makes this look like a kiwi. And I don't do anything on the wood this side. I just leave it plain wood. And this is a fine point Sharpie. We've done quite a bit today. I'm not done, but you can see we're probably 90% done the work here today. I am going to let this be part 1, and we'll have another video, part 2. If you're watching this the day I post it, part 2 will be posted tomorrow. If you're watching this in the archives, part 2 will be the next video in the playlist. So I'll see you then. Bye, everyone.